Epic's own developers hate on the Fortnite Cybertruck. Ubisoft attempt to shift Assassin's Creed's controversy into the shadows, and Humble Games dies a tragic death. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Ginx News. Fortnite is getting the Cybertruck. Will it get stuck in sand? Can you damage enemies by trapping their fingers? And will the accelerator get stuck while driving? These things all remain to be seen. But what we do know is that it will look just as butt ugly in-game as it does in real life. How can you get your hands on one? Well, for free by completing a series of in-game quests between now and the 7th of August. It will also be available in Rocket League. Whee! Which is good news for many, because the initial reaction to the reveal was not pretty, with Epic's own staff adding to the backlash. Fortnite Festival producer Kyle Wynn took to Twitter to write, "Reminder that 1. Voting with your wallet works and sentiment on social media is a tangible factor. 2. Companies are composed of lots of different people with their own unique opinions. And 3. That truck looks f***ing silly and the CEO of that company is a piece of shit." Other developers have suggested actively hunting down those that use the Cybertruck, saying destroy on sight with the middle finger emoji. After all, those windows ain't protecting anyone. Now, obviously, Elon Musk fans fully embrace these remarks as they're pro-free speech and anti-cancel culture. Wink, wink. Jokes aside though, it's free content and it's a cool addition for those who do like the Cybertruck. After all, having a more diverse range of vehicles and including content of different tastes is only a good thing, despite Elon Musk saying that diversity and inclusion kills art. And that brings us beautifully into our next story, because that tweet was posted back in May in regards to Assassin's Creed. You're probably aware of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft's next AAA installment finally taking place in Japan. You're also probably aware of one of its two main protagonists, Yasuke. And wait a second, he's black? Wow. Well, I'm sure all discourse around this topic will happen in good faith. To be honest, I'm surprised that Elon Musk even had time to comment on games like this, let alone play them, considering how much it goes on about how impossibly busy his schedule is. I guess you get a lot of free time when you completely neglect your responsibilities as a father. Now, we've covered this Assassin's Creed stuff before when the game was first revealed. Yasuke is a real historical figure. A bunch of people screamed about diversity killing games. Meanwhile, a lot of the criticism didn't actually seem to be coming from Japanese people. Our own producer, who is Japanese, literally couldn't care less.
Don't care at all.
Though obviously he doesn't speak for everyone. Well, controversy has reared its head yet again recently after the flag of a Japanese military reenactment group, Sekigahara Rifle Corps, was used without their knowledge or permission. Ubisoft said they would pull the flag from the game, but it was too late for the hardcover art books that had likely already been printed. Following that, a petition was also started calling for the game to be cancelled. This was from a Japanese man called Shimizu Toru due to its lack of historical accuracy and cultural respect. Now, interestingly enough, Shimizu didn't actually mention Yasuke or his skin color once in the whole thing. Plus, it's impossible to know how many of the 95,000 signatures are actually Japanese, though if he was referring to him, well, other people disagree, such as Japanese historian Yu Hirayama, who tweeted out, "There's no doubt that he was a samurai serving Nobunaga." Ultimately, if a game is set in an important cultural and historical setting, it has to be handled with care and sensitivity. From the looks of it, Ubisoft has made efforts to do that, though it's clear they've made mistakes, which is pretty on brand for Ubisoft, let's be honest. And is reflected in their recent statement to their Japanese community, with it just being a wall of wishy-washy nothingness. They say sorry, but don't really explain what for. Personally, I'd argue if you expect complete accuracy from an Assassin's Creed game, then maybe you should go jump off a building into a conveniently placed haystack and see how that pays off for you. But guess what? Boy, has all of this been fuel for all the people who like to cry about diversity. And maybe that's why the statement was so wishy-washy, as it kind of feels like Ubisoft was also trying to address all of those people more than the actual Japanese community. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any Japanese people who aren't upset by this, or that there's not a valid discussion to be had here about the game or Yasuke, but when it comes to platforms like Twitter, it just seems to be impossible for it to happen in good faith. What do you think though? Perhaps our comment section will become a hotbed of interesting and civil discourse, and you are more than welcome to disagree with me. You're also more than welcome to just populate the comments with facts about animals. honestly, do what you want. I'm not your dad. And now, in some very sad news, indie publisher Humble Games has reportedly laid off all of its staff. Now, originally it was suggested that they were shutting down. They then posted this message on Twitter to claim that they were restructuring, and now it appears as though all remaining projects will be completed by third parties. That's according to a LinkedIn post by Humble Bundle creative lead Chris Bradley, who lays the blame squarely on Humble Games owner Ziff Davis, the company that also owns IGN. He says that this is a total shutdown of Humble Games. Operations have been handed off to a third-party consultancy. No staff are left. He even goes on to say that calling this a restructuring is disrespectful and that Ziff Davis's Twitter post was written by AI. And look, we know the games industry is in a horrible place right now. Indie devs and pretty much every major studio has had to lay people off over the last couple of years, but Humble Games has published a huge number of great indie titles. Proteus, Project Wingman, Ghost Song, all of which are fantastic independent games that may never have seen the light of day if it weren't for Humble. The developer of Ghost Song took to Reddit to say what good people they had there, a sometimes rare thing in the publishing world, and that he'd hoped to have worked with them again. But hey, as long as all of those big cats and shareholders at Ziff Davis keep filling those fat wallets, eh? Now, we should add that this doesn't affect Humble Bundle, although if I was part of their team, I'd be looking over my shoulder and maybe beefing up that CV. It's time for the quick fire round, and if you watched last Wednesday's episode of Ginx News, thank you, I love you. You'll also know that someone paid over $30,000 to play games with Pokimane. Well, that person, if that's the right descriptor, is Twitch VTuber Claudia Manita, a cyborg who plays games like Resident Evil, GTA, and Monster Hunter World. She also won the auctions for Playtime with Valkyrie and Iron Mouse, which took her total outlay to $68,200. We have no idea whether she'll play as her VTuber persona or if we'll get to see the person behind the curtain, but all of that money goes to the Immune Deficiency Foundation, so fair play to everyone who took part. Next up, have you ever used your headphones and thought they needed more bass? Well, I have, so I'm gonna get myself one of these. This is Old Thumpy, the new set of cans designed by Philip from Pud's Small Batch. It's not the first time he's made headphones with such funky designs. If you look at his website, you'll find Blasphemy, these closed back headphones with a wall-filled transmission line to dissipate back waves, or Polycule, which has 4 ear pads so friends or lovers can listen to. And my favorite, Pinnus. These invisible headphones named after the pinner part of your ear. Moving on, Modern Warfare 3 is officially on Game Pass. Perhaps you've been aching to scratch that Call of Duty itch, but like me, couldn't justify paying $70 for a game of recycled content. Instead, you can now pay a subscription that adds up to way more than that in a matter of months. And finally, the IOC has finally confirmed the creation of the first Olympic esports games. Because look at all that Saudi money, which should come as no surprise because the Saudis are literally the only ones actually investing in esports right now. The one caveat is this will only involve non-violent games, so Call of Duty and CS fans, I guess you'll just have to make do with the Esports World Cup, which started 3 weeks ago apparently, and still has over a month to go. And that's the show. Support us through our Patreon, Ginx Plus. Give the video a like, give the channel a subscribe, and give yourselves a pat on the back for making it to the end of the video and being rewarded with a picture of this cat.